Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown. We're doing a new segment, something way different than I've been doing. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we're calling this segment Between the Ropes. I want to first give a shout-out and a thanks to Beyond/BioPro, the Beyond Institute of Professional Wrestling. They are having a fantasy camp where they're letting some people from the public take part in training. They're going to allow some very basic things. From what I understand, we're going to hopefully be able to get in the ring, maybe do some bouncing off the ropes or running the ropes as they call it. Maybe some basic maneuvers, very basic. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I don't feel comfortable, but I had to jump on this opportunity. I do want to give a huge shout out to my sweetheart, my tag team partner, Anissa, for strongly encouraging me to do this. I was on the fence a little bit when I heard about it. And she played the card. She said, "How excited would your mom be for you to be able to do this?" So this one's for mom. It's for me as well, but it's for mom. I'm super excited. I'm extremely nervous. I can't wait to get in there and try and see what we can do. I don't know what or if any footage I'll be able to get of it, and hopefully I'll talk about it afterwards, possibly with my tag team partner post event. There's also a show afterwards put on by the BioPro students, and it's BioPro Bonanza, and that should be a good time as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, I don't really know what to expect, but I am extremely excited to the point that I showed up way earlier than I needed to be, but that's kind of what I do anyways. So I want to thank everybody for joining me along this ride, and like I said, we're calling this Between the Ropes, and let's see where we can get with this whole wrestling dream. This is a lifelong dream. If anybody's followed along with some of my footage before, it's something I wanted to try when I was a teenager and just wasn't a possibility. And this is the closest I'm ever going to get to being able to do it. So let's go, as they say, or as I've been known to say, let's fucking go. We're gonna have some fun, I hope, learn some things, and have a newer and broader respect and appreciation for the business of professional wrestling. So I hope you enjoy this, and thank you, and we'll hope to tag some more of this onto the end of this. Thank you. All right, and we're back. I'm a couple of days removed from the fantasy camp. I just wanted to let it all soak in. I wanted to be able to really take in what I went through and what I got to do, and be able to verbalize it. And I also wanted to be able to share my excitement, because I'm still on a high about this. And I wanted to share it with my sweetheart, my tag team partner, Anissa.
Hello.
So we're continuing the Between the Ropes segment of the fantasy camp at BioPro out in West Boylston at the schoolyard, and which is, really put on by Beyond. And let me tell you, Drew does an amazing job with everything that he does with Beyond, Open, and now BioPro. I don't know how he does it. I don't know where he finds the time and the energy. But this fantasy camp, I got to tell you, it really was a once in a lifetime opportunity and experience. I just I was so excited but nervous, and really the nerves kind of went away as soon as we got started. I mean, it was really, we were put at ease by the amazing coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had Thomas Santel, who is like a trainer of New England. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, there's so many guys that we know that have been trained by Thomas Santel, and then his co-coaches or secondary coaches. You got T.J. Crawford, who's, I mean, one of your favorites,
Mm-hmm.
and then Love Doug, who, you know, they introduced themselves. Love Doug really hasn't been doing it all that long. He's, I think he said he started in 2019 is when he officially started. So you're talking what, 6 years, and he's really, really an amazing for that short amount of time. The talent that he has, and then watching him coach, and you know, having him coach us, he really has a way of breaking it down. And so did TJ,
Mm-hmm.
and so did Thomas Santel. You know,
I mean, that's pretty impressive because, yes, you can be talented as a wrestler, but then to be able to be talented to pass on the knowledge
right.
that you've learned and to do it in a way that inspires and encourages someone else, that's a gift.
Yeah, yeah. They all three of them were amazing. You know, and the afternoon started with just them introducing with a real small snippet of, you know, their career, you know, like their qualifications, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all introduced ourselves, the campers, as we were we were called. We were the campers, and uh, you know, we all introduced ourselves. And of course, I introduced myself as Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown because it's where I'm from. It kind of got a little pop from the crowd or whatever, but I mean, you got one opportunity, you take it, right? And
I guess.
you know, it was, but the I guess I don't know if diversity is the right word, but there was a good selection of male and female campers. You know, I was impressed with everybody that was there. They all tried hard. And there was, I was the oldest one there. And then I was nicknamed by our buddy Donovan Dwyer. I was the dad of the campers, which it was funny. And there was a couple of them were they had a wife of one of the students there, and then we had a girlfriend of one of the students there, and then it was a bunch of people just seeing if it was something that they could do or wanted to do. And then there was some of us that were just living out a dream, a once in a lifetime dream. And then there was a handful of them that this was the first step to the next step of getting into this, you know, to make sure that this is what they could do. And I don't know why they even doubted themselves, because there was a handful of them that they're ready. They're ready to go to training school. So, I mean, there was a really good mix of the, you know, different levels of ability, if you would, you know.
I mean, that's really fun because maybe you've witnessed the beginning of a future star.
Yeah, you know, like the next time we see somebody on a new person on the Independence, is like, dude, I was in the fantasy camp with that person,
Right.
you know, and I think that'd be pretty neat to be able to say, and I wouldn't be surprised either, because a couple of them, they took to it, you know, like they had that natural ability. I think I think I was somewhat self-impressed with what I was able to do, because I'm not in the shape that I used to be in, uh, and I didn't overly push myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I did.
Well, you made a promise to both
Uh,
me and Kaylee.
yeah, I promised you and the girls I wasn't going to do anything that I didn't feel physically comfortable doing. There were there was one thing that I just couldn't get, and then there was one thing that I wouldn't do, and that was at the end. But the first thing that they taught us was the proper way to get into the ring. And you think just getting in the ring? No, there's an art to that. You know, there's a special way to do it and a right way to do it, and it took a few people, you know, a few tries. It took me. I don't know. I was trying, and I almost tripped and fell on my face a couple of times, but once you nail it, then it's like second nature. And then they taught us some rolls in the ring, forward rolls, fine. And they said go out and on the other mat try and do a backward roll.
Mm-hmm.
Backward roll was where I got stuck. I kept getting stuck up here. I couldn't get all this over the top of me. I just couldn't do it.
That's okay. I usually get stuck on the buttered rolls.
Not the, anyways. uh, and then they got us back up in the ring, and we tried to do. They showed us how to do a collar and elbow tie up. Basic stuff, but you have to start at the beginning, and that was fun because after the warm-ups, we did warm-ups. I skipped over that. We did warm-up stuff, and then we did the rolls, and after that I said I need to go. I needed to use the restroom. I come out of the restroom and I'm told, hey, Jay Tunis is looking for you. I'm like, that ain't good news. And then he was the one who was working with me on how to do the collar and elbow tie up. And, you know, I mean, we've known him for so long. You know, he kind of really took care of me. Him and then a couple of the other guys too. You know, they were making sure that I was doing everything right. And I mean, everybody was getting hands on, but I'm glad it was somebody that I knew. I didn't feel uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I had him and then Black Jack, who one of the top natural athletes I've ever seen in my life. This kid, I don't think there's anything this kid can't do. And then they had this one kid, I wanted to say they were calling him Sweaty Pete. I think that was like his wrestling name or whatever. And
Like Mangy Frank?
but this guy was like 6.5 feet tall. And all right, you're going to tie up with him. I'm like, nuh-uh, I can't reach that high. But with the magic and the art that I can't give away,
You made it
we
work.
made it work and made it look real and made it look natural.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, so that's how it works. And that's one of the biggest things I took away from this whole experience was I have a newer respect and appreciation for what these guys do in the ring. And I think that's one of the biggest things that they want you to learn. You know,
Mm-hmm.
is this ain't easy. It's not just, you know, go in and play spring off the trampoline or something. There's a lot of work and there's a lot of art to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody of the camp, there was 18 of us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a really good solid number of people to have in that camp because everybody got some one-on-one time. I had one-on-one time with Thomas Santel, and then Love Doug and TJ. You know, they took some time when after the tie-up stuff, then we got back in the ring. And I'm going to tell you, getting up on that ring, because they use a higher ring in some of the independent promotions, getting up on that ring ain't no joke. I got a nice little divot in my shin because of where I hit that ring every time. Which, I mean, I guess as long as you hit in the same spot every time, you're doing you're consistent. You're not changing it up every time.
I mean, that's pretty good. You got a permanent souvenir of the day.
I got a couple. But then we got up in the ring and we did the run and the ropes, which was when we got the email of the itinerary. That was like the number one thing. I was like, oh, yes. You get to go off the ropes. And it wasn't just, all right, go ahead, run across and hit that rope. They showed us the proper way of what you're supposed to do. And one of the things they do is you want to feel the rope in this certain spot. Well, there's a certain spot right about here. You can tell where there's a top rope indent and bruising. But I wasn't hurt. I'm just sore and whatnot. It was perfectly safe. They made sure.
You're going to be sore after any new activity.
Yeah, using muscles you've never used before or haven't in a long time anyways. And they teach you, start you out by just leaning against the rope to get it out of your head that those ropes are just going to spring you off. No, they're not. And then they want you to walk across, and I wasn't getting that. I wasn't getting the cadence right. Then they said, run it. And once I started running it, I got it spot on.
Oh, good.
And both TJ and Love Doug said that. They're like, they couldn't figure out why I was missing it walking. But then TJ said, all right, start picking up the pace a little bit. And the biggest thing was I got out of my head. I stopped thinking. I just did it. And I started running them, and it was... He said, okay. I said, no, I'm getting a couple more in here. Quick little fun story. Donovan, our buddy Donovan,
Mm-hmm.
he started walking them, and he was doing okay, and then he ran it a couple of times. And he come off the rope one last time, and then he stopped, and he did the Ric Flair strut. Everybody, every single one of us were all watching, and that kid he has charisma like there's no tomorrow. I love that kid. He did a couple of things throughout the day that it just always had people belly rolling because he's so funny when
he's always had a really cheeky sense of humor.
He does. He's like, he was so funny, but he really wants
fella.
it. He really wants it. I think he's going to sign up for training at BioPro, which, I mean, good for him. I hope he can do it.
We'll support him 100%.
100%. I mean, he's the future.
He really is.
And then after running the ropes, we did a few other things, and like I said, my favorite thing was getting to run those ropes and then do the tie up. Then, after a small break, they sat us down in the chairs out in front of the ring, and they broke down the do's and don'ts and how-tos of a promo. And they said, and none of it, except for the warm-up stuff, none of it was you were made to do. If you felt comfortable, you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us alternatives. If you couldn't do a certain thing, this is another way to do it, type of thing. And then when it came to the promos, Tom really nailed home that you don't have to do this. We know that anxiety is a real thing. If you're not comfortable speaking in front of people, then this part is definitely not for you. Because and they told us like the do's and don'ts, and I ended up doing. But I waited till last, and I called out our buddy J. Tunis, and
the upgrade.
and it went. It seemed like it was well received. Everybody was cheering and everything after I got done. And again, I went last, so I had to go after Jay's girlfriend went, and she called him out too, which I was like, oh, but I went in a completely different direction. And I can't really get into everything that was said or whatever, but the way he broke down the do's and don'ts, so like, you don't do certain things because it's also going to look bad on you, not just your opponent, that kind of thing. It was really cool. It was really interesting on how he broke that down,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of thing. And And then we took like a big group picture with the campers and then the coaches and then the students of BioPro, and that was a really cool shot. That's a picture I'm going to hold on to for a long time because.
Well, I think that we should add it to the wrestling room here.
Oh, I wouldn't mind making like an 8x10 out of that and hanging it up on the wall somewhere, because that's something that I always wanted to do, and that was something else I took away from this was if 30 years ago I was able to do what I just did, I would have been one of those kids that would have been signing up that day for training, because I know my abilities back then. I would have been able to really do what they were asking us to do without hiccup. I know I could have done it, and that, with the proper training, keep going with it. So it was kind of bittersweet. It's like, oh man, I could have done this, but I could have done this
I have
all
no
at this
doubt.
all at the same time. And I said at the beginning, I said, when I first signed up for this and everything, that I was doing it for me, but you persuaded me by hitting me with the feels that, how excited would Mom be. I brought Mom with me, and so she got to be there while I was doing it, which was huge.
I know she was watching.
Because she absolutely would have loved this.
Yeah, she would have.
She would have been
Over
so
the
excited.
moon, yeah.
She would have been pushing me at 48 to sign up for training. That wasn't happening.
See, there's me who would say, I don't think so.
The head of Beyond, Drew, he asked the campers if we do another one, a fantasy camp, would anybody sign up for another one? And I said, hell to the no. I got it out of my system. I got my one and done, but it's worth it. If you ever see something like this and you think maybe you want to try it. They'll take care of you. The right trainers are there. And
Well, and also it gives you a sense of I'm not going to regret not trying.
yeah,
At least this way, if you try it and you think this is not for me, you've tried it. And then you're not going to look back and think, I should have.
right. Yep. Or what could have happened or whatever.
Right.
I do have to say, there was 18 of us, not one person dropped off. Everybody did just about everything. Like everybody tried. Not one person said, I can't do this. And everybody had that want and will to continue on with the day. And it was totally fun, fun presented in a fun way. It was never like a drill sergeant type of thing. It was all, because it was a fantasy camp. It wasn't like you signed up for training.
Yeah, it wasn't boot camp.
It's going to be different if you sign up. It's going to be more intense, and more in the ring too. But it was. But what we did for a warm up was like a third of what they normally do, and they told us that we just got to get you going and everything. This is a fraction of what they do, and talking about the students, and all of them were like, yeah, we do 50 of these, and we did 20. And it was like, thank God we're not doing 50 of these. But
Well, I mean, it was on one of the warmest days of the summer so far.
well, thankfully the schoolyard is fairly well air conditioned. I mean, it wasn't cold by any means, but it was a lot cooler than it was outside.
That didn't take much. But, I mean, that at least it wasn't in some rundown place that was warmer than
Yeah,
heck,
yeah.
and it's a nice facility.
It really is, and they really took care of us in there, and one of the campers made sure everybody was well hydrated, because not everybody read the email and brought hydration.
Okay, Dad.
I was the dad. But So that was the the fantasy camp. Um, there there wasn't a lot of footage at all because they asked us not to, and we respected that because they're not going to give away, you know, the magic. And so out of respect for that, there was only a couple of pictures taken when we were told we could take pictures, and that was it. Um, Everything that all the pictures are locked up in here. I'll for a long time I'm not going to forget what I got to do and take part in, and I totally appreciate it. And so big shout outs to Drew from Beyond. He put this together, and he did a great job. Thomas Santel, TJ, and Doug, those three guys are top notch trainers. They really know how to break it down so that you have an understanding if you have no athletic ability or if you really have you're right there. They really know how to get you to understand what to do. And then all the students from BioPro, from Jay and iBlack, Drager, Brett Metro, those are the guys that I really kind of know. And then even the kids that I didn't know got to know.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that the training is there because they're putting forth what they're telling us to do, and it was really well done. And then all the other campers, they all did a great job. They were awesome. All they were all kids, and they did a great job. I would highly suggest anybody that has any idea of or thought of wanting to be a pro wrestler and they see a fantasy camp, check it out. It's really well worth it. It may spark that to sign up for training. It really might, or it just give you that appreciation for what those boys and girls do in that ring, because it's no joke. And again,
They give you information?
yeah, yep. Like as soon as it was all done, DC is like, just email me,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get it back to you. And even if you didn't email them, you got an email with some information on it. No, I'm not. But it's easy enough to get a hold of. Just email Beyond Wrestling, and they'll get back to you. And he's pretty good about getting back to you when you email him too. So yeah, that was the BioPro Fantasy Camp. I appreciate you encouraging me and
Well, that's my
in
job.
doing it.
That's my job.
Because I was slightly on the fence, but I fell off that fence real quick, and I did it, and I'm so glad I did it. And I can't say I would do it again because I won't do it again, but I'm super glad I did it. So
I'm proud of you.
and thank you. So thank you for coming along. This went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I wanted to get it all out.
You were excited, and that's great.
And so it's been a few days, but thank you for coming along with the journey. So again, with my tag team partner and my sweetheart, Anissa, I'm Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown, and this has been Between the Ropes, the BioPro Fantasy Camp. Thank you.